What's up, my YouTube people? This is Cross Politic. Pastor Toby.
He's
not here, but not here. Chalk Knox, the water boy. This is our boy, Brandon Allen.
Yeah.
We had a great show.
You want to tell people who Brandon Allen is?
On the app. No, they're going to find out in a minute. All right. Download the app to watch our 6 o'clock daily show.
Time out.
It was really good.
Time out. So today's show is live on the app, so you want to go there and watch it. But the app actually has messaging and chat in it now.
Ooh, it's kind of fun. And you can connect with people by state.
Okay, so we got to tell people, though, when you go to the app and you want to be a part of the chat, you have to go to FLF group first. That group lets you be a part of the whole Fight Laugh Feast chat, and then you can go and have people.
And there's actually a live. There's a group called Live Show Chat.
Oh,
and the reason why
am I a part of that?
No, you need to join it. Go to Discover. Click on Discover, Knox. Click on Discover, okay?
Discover.
And then you click on Live Show Chat. So there's a group for when we actually live stream in the app. You can actually go to live chat and see everybody. Hey,
Brandon, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you have the Fight Laugh Feast app?
I'm downloading it as soon as I get out of the studio.
Okay.
He's on it.
You and everybody
He's
else.
on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see him.
And we talked a lot about the economy and what's going on with Janet Yellen, inflation, and what else did we talk about?
We talked to Brandon because he was a part of the show.
I was going to get there. I'm just saying for the news segment.
Oh, so part of it, what we were talking about was that inflation ultimately, or the vision of Yellen is the same vision that we have in our homes. She is blind because she represents us properly. And so our responsibility as... We didn't get into all of this, but I've been very, very annoyed at everybody seeing the problem. Yeah. So people will say
what the problem is.
So people will see inflation as a problem, or just generally everybody. Conservative media right now will say, "Hey, we need men to stand up. We need men to be responsible," and then they have no idea or concept of what it means for a man to take responsibility because they've deconstructed the foundations of manhood and masculinity from worship. You know, Adam was created on the 6th day. His first day was worship.
It wasn't work.
You get worship wrong, and your relationship is broken. You know, and you look at Cain. Cain got worship wrong, and he starts killing his brother. Okay, you don't get restorative relationships with your brother apart from having worship properly. And so when people are seeing problems in our system or glitches, inflation or whatever it is, this is what we were talking about. We have to go back down to the foundation. What is a man? What is he for? Who is this God? God has given him a woman. He needs to take that wisdom from his wife, cultivate his kids, cultivate an environment for them to live, and then work with other families to bless them. That's what men is designed to do, so that he models on earth what it is like to be in heaven, right? And so part of what we've done is blamed the whole society for our problems. We blame Yellen for our problems. We blame the government. We blame Trump. And we are the ones who really are the problem at the end of the day, and we have not taken that responsibility.
That's really
so that's kind of what the show in summary was about.
Yeah, and I think when we're talking about the economy, talking about even buying houses and mortgages with Brandon, I think it really puts the responsibility on us, on families.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we, for, it's kind of hard. We want to say centuries here in the U.S. It seems like for decades, for centuries, whatever's happened, there's been some weak link in the family that has led to the kind of government that we have now.
It's the same weak link that happened in the garden. Where
right.
But it's being lazy. Right?
Yeah, that's right. No, that's exactly right.
It's laziness, but I would under that. This is cult and culture, cult and worship.
Yeah.
Under that, it's worldview. It's like our worldview's been broken for a century.
This is why I put everything in worship. You get worship wrong, and the whole system is broke. The whole world works off of proper worship, and man worship is inescapable in the system. So if you worship the wrong things, you become like the gods that you worship, right?
And Pastor Wilson has been really good on this. He says whatever you believe, whatever theology you have in your mind, you have in your heart, it has to come out your fingertips.
Well, that's the thing. People don't think that theology, and this is why we're theonomists over here, is because yeah, I know. We can say that word on YouTube and not get canceled. Basically, and Brandon, feel free to jump in here anywhere because I got a setup for you in a second. But everything is connected. It's not separate. It's not disconnected. this is why back with Cain, when he murdered his brother, it wasn't like in a vacuum by itself. It was directly connected to the worship, the false worship that he was offering. He had broken the second commandment, right? So when we get worship wrong or we misplace worship, it has a fallout all the way to our politics. And so how we choose, when we define a man, and think about our Supreme Court Justice, Katrina
Jackson.
Brown Jackson. Yeah. She didn't know what a man or woman was. She couldn't define it.
She wasn't a biologist.
And so then when you decide to work and operate in law without those definitions properly be oriented, that's not
insanity.
That's not just a dictionary problem. That's a worship problem. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brandon.
You know what? When I said that, it comes back to men being lazy.
Yeah.
It's like we want everything boxed and handed to us.
Yeah.
You go to work at 9, you go to home at 5.
Right.
You got church on Sundays, you got small group on Wednesdays.
Yeah. That's right.
Everything's just boxed. We want it boxed. And what that means is that we have no ingenuity.
That's right.
It's all handed to us.
That's right.
So then when you give when your idol is now comfort, and you're saying, I want my box and I want everything that's within that box, well, who defines the boundaries of that box?
Yeah.
When you let that be the government, when you let that be somebody else other than God, now they have the ability to manipulate it to where they can say, hey, we're changing this box up on a man and a woman. We're just going to move the boundaries here.
So you said right before we started, and I had to stop you because you were about to do the whole show by yourself. You said nobody knows what's going on with the economy.
He was ready to go.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I'll give you an example. I was on Yahoo Finance last night doing my nightly reading, just looking up on how things ended for the day. And it said the bear market has ended, right? We've hit the bottom of the stock market. Everything's going to get better from here on out. That was at 9:30 last night. I wake up this morning and JP Morgan Chase CEO says, hey, we're in for a hurricane season economically. Right? Nobody knows what's going on in the market right now. And you can see from bonds and stock trends that it's just a tumultuous time. Nobody knows what's in the next 16, 24 months. Right? We know we're headed into a recession. How big, how small, how long, how short, nobody knows. It's all speculation.
I have a theory. I believe that the situation that we're currently in has a root problem inside of the home, right? Like we are, we talked about this a little bit on the show, but the foundation is always the home. And so whatever's happening in the home is going to be revealed at the fruit level, which I would say the government is a downstream of the culture of the home, right? And so with that being the case, how do we reorient the home so that we start getting good fruit in our economy and our government?
Man, that's a great question.
I only work with great questions, so you're welcome.
Great question. And it's the same answer that I provided on the first segment. So we got to be faithful daily in the small things to be able to make these bigger decisions. When we're talking to our children about worldview and politics and how are we voting and why are we voting these ways? How are we managing our money? Where does money come from? I grew up in a home that money was a big taboo topic. We don't talk about how much people made, what they did with their money. It's their business.
We don't talk about money.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think we need to start opening our children up very intentionally at a young age at how do we multiply what we're given, right? More than just, hey, here's the 20 to go put in the tithe box, right? Where did this come from? What does this cost, and what does it cost to run this household? Let's start teaching our kids from a younger age how to actually leverage the gifts and talents that God's given us, money being one of them.
Can I ask you, how are you doing that with your family practically?
Yeah, so we give our daughters an allowance, which is a very simple practice. But my daughters ask me about money all the time. Dad, how much did this cost? What does this cost? How much is the house worth? Those types of things. And my parents, I can distinctly remember it, that's none of your business. Don't worry about it. That's my business. Yeah. You'll learn about that one day. No, I think we need to start talking about it early.
Yeah. My kids are asking some of the same questions.
And I just answer it straight up.
So you give them a job because they get an allowance, so they're doing something for their money. Right. So you've created a little economy in your home, right?
That's right.
So do you charge them for things?
I don't charge them for things.
Okay.
Not yet. My wife and I have been talking about it.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to make a purchase as a family. My wife and I actually were talking about this last week. Hey, our microwave broke. We're going to buy a new microwave, but we're all going to contribute towards it, right? Start to do things like that. I think modeling
sounds like socialism.
A mini economy. Not quite.
Are there bread lines in your family? Are your children lining up for bread?
My youngest should be in that bread line all day. She loves bread.
But I love what you're doing there. So
funny.
you're saying, hey, this is what it looks like to be part of the family. This is the
right.
family structure. And so we have an expense, and so we're going to contribute to fixing that expense. You know, one of the things that I've done, I've actually tried to communicate taxes to my kids. One of the ways that I do that is that when I open things for them or I buy something for them, I take about 2/3 of it.
Oreos? We talking about Oreos?
Oreos. Well, obviously the Oreos. Ice cream. Like I'm always.
You give them 3 scoops and then take 2 back.
It's like, this is yours, and this
is the government
is yours, and I'm taking
funny.
the rest of it. So, like, what happened to the rest of mine? And they understand. They like, one of my sons was like, Dad, taxes are horrible.
Ooh.
I was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, they're horrible when they are more than what they should be, right? Like, their Bible actually has a standard on what taxes should be for our civil magistrate or for our government, and we don't have answers. It's funny to me. Part of the Christians, if you ask them, the Bible speaks on everything, they would say absolutely. And so you say, well, what should the tax rate be? And most Christians would be like,
whatever the government wants it to
be. Yeah, right. Yeah. Romans 13, whatever they define. Well, what government are they living? Are they living under Christ's government? So then does Christ have a response to them about how much they should take? And it's like, yes, he does. No more than 10%, right? That's mine as God. God takes 10% of your money. The government isn't God, so they can't take more than that. And anytime they exercise anything more than that percentage, they are saying that they have a higher standard or have a higher position than God himself. And so, like, I'm trying to teach my kids, like, we want to, when we think about people we're voting for, well, this is why I liked, remember Herman Cain's plan 999? Yeah, I was like, okay, you just won under the 10%. So
999, still 30%.
It's still, yes, true. Yeah, it's still not good. So anyway, Brandon is, your company is Synergy One Lending.
That's right.
What's the website?
SynergyOneLending.com.
SynergyOneLending.com. But people can follow you on
Instagram at A-Team Home Loans.
You don't want to miss
A-Team as in Mr. T.
Let's go.
Yeah. Download the app. There is behind the paywall content for all the club members there. It's a fascinating conversation. Brandon was absolutely fire.
Yeah.
And he's my loan officer, so I appreciate him in so many ways.
We bring people in.
All right. That's where your Cross Politic is. If you go there right now, you can finish live streaming the show.
Thanks for hanging out on YouTube.
We out.